Another Dooley Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. All right, hello again, everybody. I am Pat Dooley, and this is Another Dooley Noted Podcast brought to you by Titan MRI, presented by Titan MRI, brought to you with great embrace by Titan MRI, our good friends over there, and we appreciate them so much. And, of course, we're coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. We appreciate Meldon Law, and we love being here at Coach Spurrier's restaurant. I got something to say about that a little bit later. It's positive, believe me. I wouldn't do that if I wasn't going to say something nice, but I can't remember what it was now. But anyway, we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, a big weekend for sports. I know a lot of you, if there's not a football game, and certainly not the USFL, but if there's not a football game or a college basketball game, or I know you have a hard time getting into sports sometimes, and good. And that's probably good. I'm like the exception to the rule. I'm just a nut for sports. And I actually, on Saturday, I actually said, hey, Karen, let's go to the golf course. Let's just go hit balls. Let's go play some golf. Florida's in a game. I don't know. They just fell behind. It's not about that. What are we doing inside? It's beautiful out. We did. We went and played and had a great time and played well and did it again yesterday. Karen's out of town for a couple days. So, and by the way, just to give you a programming note, today, Dennis Dodd, our good friend from CBSSports.com, is going to be on, and to me, one of the great minds in college who knows college football, and we'll kind of get a feeling for him. But we'll talk a little SEC with him as well. And then Coach Spur will be on Friday's show. Now, Friday's show, you know me, I'm honest, will be taped on Thursday. The reason it's taped on Thursday is because I'm getting out of town Friday. I am going away with my beautiful wife and daughter and just getting out of town and just laying by a pool or laying by something. I'm just going to lay by something. That's all I'm going to do. And maybe even play a little golf. Hopefully I do. I got to get Carrie Splain to hook me up over there at Marsh Creek. So there'll be no show Monday, the following Monday. A week from today, there'll be no show. You guys can live without me for a day. I know that. In fact, some of you think you can live without me longer than that. But we really try to honor our sponsors in every way possible because they're important to us. And so we do shows even when it's inconvenient. We did a show the Friday before the golf tournament. Evan came out to Ironwood. And we try to do that. But, look, I need a Monday off. That's all right, I'm going to lose my mind. It's going to be like Scanners when the guy's head explodes. Anyway, all right, let's get to the Fearsome Fivesome for today. And, again, we'll be joined by Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports in just a little bit. The Fearsome Fivesome, number one, would be that softball is hosting the regional. 14 seed is about right. I mean, that's what that team – but to be good enough to be a 14 seed in a down – kind of a down year. I don't want to say it's a down year. It's not the best year. They have problems. They're very inconsistent. They're very young. But you're still hosting, and you're hosting a regional, and that's huge. You hope it'll help you. It didn't help you a lot this weekend, but certainly the crowd being behind them when they won those first two games at the SEC tournament was a factor. The bottom line is they got a tough regional. Virginia Tech is where they'll have to go if they do win. Maybe Virginia Tech, something happens and they don't win their regional. So maybe you do host, but that's not even important. What's important is the second game. They should be okay with Canisius in the first game. In fact, I looked it up. There are two teams with more homers than the entire field for this tournament. This is not going to be a lot of long balls. I think it was 35, 33, 29, 16 were the numbers on the home runs for this. So, but it'll still be fun. It's a tough regional. Georgia Tech is 23 in RPI. Florida is, I think, 13 or 14. They're right about where they're 14 actually. Actually, they're 13. I'm sorry. They're 13, but they ended up a 14 seed. I don't think any of that matters. Georgia Tech, though, is a 23. So that means the difference between 13 and 23 is negligible. And then Wisconsin's got a good team. They're 37. They'll be fine with Canisius, okay? They played them 4:30 on Friday, and I know they'll get great support, and maybe they can find a way to win this regional if they have to go to Virginia Tech. Let's just see what happens. I mean, just look, I always say this. Win the first game. If you win it 1-0, then you go to the next game. And then if you win it 14-13, you go to the next game. So that's what we have with softball. Second best story to me of the weekend was what baseball was able to do. By the way, 17 straight years Florida's hosted a super or a regional. That's pretty impressive. And 12 teams in the SEC from the SEC get to the softball regional. Only one didn't make it, South Carolina, and 5 were our hosts for regionals. Okay, let's talk baseball. Baseball obviously had a good weekend. What did we say? Got to win 1. Like you to win 2. Perfect world, you win 3. They won 2. And they were tough games. I mean, after the first game, you think, they're going to blow them out. They win 13-1. Come back, second game, they kind of pooped the bed a little bit in the second game. And the third game dug out, all you can say is when you win those kind of games is you just grinded it out and you got the win, you came home and you were happy. Again, you had to wait for a rain delay and everything. So Florida pretty much has secured its place. It has secured its place in the SEC tournament. It's pretty much secured its place in the NCAA tournament. If they went 0-3 and 0-1 in the in Hoover, yeah, they would have some issues, but I think they're one win away from making sure they're in the tournament. And as I've said before, this team isn't going anywhere. They're not going to do anything special. But the bottom line is if they can find a way just to win enough games to get out of the regional somehow, we'll see what happens. All right. The third best thing that happened this weekend, of course, is what happened with track. Florida track women's track won the national championship, and not the national championship, the SEC championship. Sorry, it was a pretty good story, and we'll get to it. We get to the Adams Ribco to go, Gator of the weekend. We got somebody for you there, okay? But that is impressive. Mouse Holloway is the most underappreciated coach, but I'm telling you what. That guy is happy with what he's got because he sits over, there's a little corner there in the Lemeron building where he is. Nobody even knows he's there. Nobody ever sees him. All he does is coach national champions, and that's all they do. They keep winning national championships and SEC championships. So good for them to win that. That was their 7th outdoor SEC championship under Holloway. What a job he's done. Lacrosse also, I wanted to mention them. They got to the quarterfinals, and men's tennis they're playing Virginia on Thursday at 8:00. So men's tennis with their great win for them to advance again to the quarterfinals. Women did not get through. They were playing number 1. Not a big surprise there. So that is the Fearsome Fivesome. From Another Dooley Noted Podcast. We appreciate everybody for clicking on. What is that? Is it me? Oh, man. Something kept squeaking, and I didn't know what it was. It was me. I thought it was like Charlie Sheen's bed for a minute there, but I didn't know what was going on. All right, so we are going to we got a lot to talk about, and I can't wait to get our guest on that we always have on about, I don't know, once every month or so, month and a half or so, because he does such a great job for CBS Sports. Dennis Dodd will join us. And, again, we've got all this stuff going on. We're trying to make sure everybody understands what we're going to be doing over the next – and, again, look, we're going to try to stay with you all summer, okay? I know that it gets boring for people trying to listen to podcasts, but that's where you have to be inventive. And I am the most inventive person Yeah, I don't know. I'm up there in the top 5 in Gainesville, which isn't saying much. All right, so we'll take a break. We'll come back. Dennis Dodd will join us from CBSSports.com. Always love his stuff. Always love what he talks about. And we will also play Yes, No Way, or Maybe with him. It's always brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks as well. So we look forward to that. Yes, No Way, or Maybe with Dennis Dodd. And we'll get some SEC X Factors as well. All right. I'm going to quit squeaking this. Why am I squeaking this thing? All right. We'll be right back. Is there a piece in the floor? Oh, no, I get it. I know where it is. Okay. All right. We'll be right back with more of Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Another Duly Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
All right, and welcome back to Another Duly Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We always love being here, and I wrote about it a little bit this weekend for Gators Wire. So if you want to read what I wrote about it, you can read that. Right now, we're going to go talk to one of my favorite people in the world, Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports, the king of college football. He knows everything better than anybody. And he's also literally might get a text during the show and go, I got to go, because things are changing. Things are happening very fast, aren't they?
They're happening very fast. And it seems like since March of 2020, Pat, when we had COVID, the wheel has not stopped. People ask me, what do you do in the off season? And I say, what off season? Realignment, COVID, transfer portal, NIL, governance structure now. There's hardly time to do what we like to do best, and that's write about football. So here we are again, another summer filled with all kinds of stuff.
Well, when you think about it, I mean, we had a summer before it was all about the who was going to play, who wasn't going to play, and then the schedule reveal, which you would have thought that the college football commissioners would have gone, this was a big story for like a week and a half, and like the NFL has, maybe we should do it all the time. But no, they don't get that. Then you had last summer, you had all the stuff we were dealing with obviously transfer portal, NIL, and now that's all anybody's talking about this summer. It's almost gotten to be exhausting. Like when you flip on a college show, like I'm sure you do ESPNU and all those things, and you go, all right, what do you think Utah is going to bring in here to Gainesville? Nah, they're not talking about that. They're not talking about any football. They're talking about transfer portal, coaches, and basically NIL deals.
Yeah, I think the coaches have kind of sucked the oxygen out of the room in that respect. In that we're only getting one side of the story here. Oh, tampering. Okay.
Right.
The first case I've been able to find in the NCAA database will be the first that includes the word tampering, because they don't investigate it because they can't prove it. It's always been there. It's just risen to the top now because coaches are they're claiming things. I don't know if they're true or not. The NIL thing now, strangely enough, Pat, it's going to be hard to believe, but there are, even in the last week since the NCAA said they were going to crack down on some of the booster activity, in some of the SEC states, the state houses, state governments, it's become easier to get NIL benefits to get around what the NCAA wants. So I think what's being lost here in some respect is the good of NIL. And I go back to, I think there's a group of Iowa or Big Ten athletes that were giving a lot of their benefits, maybe all of them, to charity. There's a kid at Missouri named Luther Burden, who was the number one receiver in the country. Missouri got him. His father has said the kid now with his NIL money is contributing significantly to the family's bottom line. I don't think there's any problem with that, as long as it's all above board, and it is for him. So we're losing that part of it as to how good this is and how much these players have missed out on these benefits that they should have gotten years ago.
Well, and that's the thing. You think back to where we were 10 years ago, 15. I've told this story about going to talk to Danny Werfel about it in '96. So I go to talk to Danny Werfel about how, what do you think about whether players should get extra money or get this and everything? And I'm saying, well, I know that he's going to say that I would just look for Jesus Christ to design, send me the right way. He goes, it's a lot of crap. We need to be getting money. I mean, I was like, whoa, Danny. I mean, he literally was way ahead of his time that way, and now we're dealing with that. And I don't know what percentage of, like, if you talk about a college football player and you talk about an NFL player, an NFL player is 100% pro, right? What percentage is a college football player right now?
Pro? By the definition the NCAA gave us years ago, that they've been professionalized a long time ago. People talk about pay for play. Cost of attendance, Pat, is pay for play. You only get it because you're an athlete, not because you're a student, because you're an athlete.
They're not giving it to the band, right?
No, this new Alston money, which the NCAA fought to the Supreme Court. Let's not forget, these are educational benefits that the NCAA saw fit to fight to the Supreme Court, not any compensation. That ends up being pay for play because they only get it because they're players. So now with NIL, really, to me, the argument is only how much money can these guys get before it turns off the average fan from watching, attending, buying cable, buying advertising.
Right.
And we haven't seen that point yet. And I would submit that figure is huge, because my takeaway from covering games last year was that the games were the thing. And it was great to talk about ball again. Nobody in the stadium cared what the quarterback was making or not making. And I think that's why this will endure. And I think in 2 or 3 years, we won't even be talking about it. It'll just be part of the fabric of the game.
Well, that's going to be the interesting thing. I mean, obviously, college football's had an attendance drop, but it's unrelated to any of this other stuff. it's all about big screen TVs and tired of sitting in cramped seats. And I mean, everybody's going out of their way. Florida probably will reduce to about 85,000 because there's no point in having 95,000 seats. I think a lot of people will start doing that and making it more comfortable. And then, but as you see attendance drop around the country, I think now everybody go, well, it's because of NIL. Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's not.
No, I've done that story for years. My latest one was in January, where you're right. For the 6th time in 7 years, overall college football attendance in FBS dropped. For example, the SEC, I think, was its lowest since 1992. The Pac-12 was the lowest since they started keeping statistics in 1978. That's just for example. And you're right. The reasons are what they have been. Ticket prices are too high. Parking's too inconvenient. It's easier to sit at home with technology and big screen TVs and drink free beer on your bar lounger than have to get up and wait in line to go to the bathroom before you get that next beer. And athletic directors, ADs are pulling their hair out trying to figure out how to recreate that home experience for their schools. And you're right. Part of the answer is the boutique stadium, where you either shrink a stadium or build a stadium more that's smaller, and that you create a premium price where people will pay to get in. But it's really, really hard on college campuses because that footprint isn't going at, it is a static footprint. You look at Georgia.
Yeah, you don't have
nowhere to go there.
To build it. Yeah, you have nowhere to
go. Florida too. Whereas in a city in the NFL, you can just go build a stadium somewhere. So all of that comes into play, and none of it.
You go to Arlington.
Go out there. None of it has to do with NIL. Those are other problems.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see where this all goes, but I do want to talk some college football with you. It is the middle of May. We're not that far away, but let's talk a little bit about it. Do you think Alabama will be the number 1 team when the first AP poll comes out, or do you think it'll be Ohio State? There's a lot of people that feel it could be them.
I think it'll be Alabama because
they got the Heisman winner. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, they have the best offensive player and best defensive player. That's a good place to start. Will Anderson Jr. and Bryce Young. 2 or 3 years ago, if you talk to people at Alabama, they were shooting for 22. Oh, we got the guys are really coming back in 22. We got the team to win it all. So what happened last year, even by Alabama standards, was a bit of a surprise, where they went to the championship game and won the SEC in a quote-unquote off year after losing 6 first-round draft choices. I would submit that no other team in the country could suffer those kind of losses and come back and do what they did. But now they've got all these returning players, all this new young talent, and it's one of those situations which we've had for years at Alabama. We may not know their names, but we will soon. They will be superstars by the end. Nobody knew who Jameson Williams was, and then he became the best receiver in the country. So it's going to be things like that. Nick has managed the transfer portal expertly. I don't know if he's managed the conversation expertly, but he has managed his roster expertly, and I think they'll be the best team in the SEC, maybe far and away. Again, Georgia, a record 15 players drafted.
Right.
How many? Offensively, 9, I think, or 6 in the first round. I can't remember. So that cannot endure. They'll win the East, but they will not be close to Alabama, I don't think.
It's going to be interesting to see, as we go forward this season, because, as you know, we're seeing ADs trying to schedule based on, hey, we need to get butts in the seat, and it's not enough that the Gators are playing. It's not enough that Tennessee is playing. I don't want to say it's not enough that Alabama or Georgia are playing because they're at the highest level. But for the most part, it's not enough that your team's playing. You got to play somebody, and we've seen this. And of course, Florida getting Utah in their opening game. What a great, Jeremy Foley was notorious for scheduling a team like right after Byron Leftwich left. Right after all these people were left. But Florida ends up with a Utah team to start the season that I know is really a good football team.
Could win the Pac-12, yeah. I mean, a lot of people think they will, or at least will be favored. And it just gotten done walking into the belly of the beast at the Rose Bowl and played Ohio State. right to their knees. They probably should have won the game if
That was
their
a hell of a
quarterback
game.
was
Yeah.
hurt. A hell of a game.
There was no winner there. There was just, one team had more points at the end.
Had more points. So look, Scott Strickland's a great way to start this conversation because I talked to him years ago, and he and Chris Del Conte at Texas and a couple other high-profile ADs had come to the conclusion that scheduling these patsies in the beginning were good for no one, especially in the CFP era. And this was before expansion. This just helps your profile. And if expansion comes, guess what? You can afford to schedule those teams because in the SEC you can get in at 10-2 and maybe 9-3, depending on the quality of the field and the quality of your schedule. So I think it was, who Dave Brown is. He's the old ESPN employee who now has struck out on his own and does scheduling. He's
got kind of started all the ESPN stuff.
Yeah, future scheduling for everybody. And he said, I think he may have been referring to Florida maybe in 26, and he said, it's the best schedule I've ever seen ever. I think it was Florida. They're playing Texas, they're playing somebody else, and then the SEC.
And FSU,
so by then,
you're going to play every year.
Yeah. So FSU. So by 26, we're probably going to have a 12-team playoff where 9-3 can get you in. Scott Strickland saw that. He was smart enough to see that, and so that's why they're doing it. And if you're Florida State, and Florida State realized this years ago, in sort of a rural setting where they are, you bring in Charleston Southern to start the season, and it's 8,000 degrees. People don't want to go, and it showed in the stands, no matter how good they were. So this makes sense.
Well, and that's the thing, and that's where Bobby Bowden made his mark, was saying, we'll play you anywhere you want to play. And that's where he got – that's how you got noticed at a school like FSU, which up until then was not noticed. Florida's kind of taken the other approach because they were noticed. Everybody knew him. Emmitt Smith, they knew when Steve Spurrier came along, but, of course, they didn't play anybody usually outside of FSU for a long time, and now I know that it's a different world that we live in. You mentioned the college football playoff. What's your gut on this? Where are we going to be in 2 years? Because we're not going to be there right away. Well, where are we going to be in a couple of years?
Well, it's going to be 4 years because that's what's left on the contract, and there's no momentum either on ESPN's part to reopen the contract, or as we've seen.
So it'd be 25, right?
Yeah, it would be 26. It goes through the
26.
25 season, I believe. Let's see, 4 years. Yeah, 22. Yeah, it would be the 26th season. So I think we'll get there. I think we'll get there with 12, but it's going to be a lot more complicated. What will happen is what they wanted from the beginning. They want to go out to market, which they wouldn't if they expanded now. This would be under, this would be an ESPN play. And you might have, I don't know, look, college football is the only entity, pro or college, that I know of that level that doesn't have their championship on multiple platforms. NFL playoffs, NHL, NBA, you got to go all over the dial to find those playoff games. And so why wouldn't you, with a 12-team playoff that would end up being 11 games, and sell them on the second most, popular sport in America where people can't get enough of it? The projection is, I think right now they're making $600 million a year at annual average value, $7.2 billion over 12 years. The projection is at least something like $1.2 billion. That's not quite. That's exactly is 2x. That'd be twice the number. And so it might go up if you get those many people bidding on it. And you have to remember the fact that none of these contracts, I would submit that none of these contracts, pro or college, make economic sense. They always overbid. They always, and they're always, because they can, and because they're always backloaded, and the networks worry about it towards the end of the deal.
And there is something to be said for advertising your things on your network, on these shows that people are watching. It's not just about the ratings; it's about the opportunity to say 2.5 Men weekdays at whatever it is. I don't think 2.5 Men's on anymore, but
yeah, they all do that. And who's to say by then in 26 the players don't get a piece? They're sitting down at a table, collectively bargaining, or they don't play. There's a strike or something like that, because we're headed towards some sort of, I don't want to say unionization, but I just think a trade association among the players that will demand their piece of the pie because they are the labor in this whole thing. Whether you agree with the whole concept or not, they are the labor in this whole thing. So I think that's coming. I think it will be 12. I think cooler heads will prevail, but get used to what we have now for the next 4 years.
There are a lot of people that just kind of go, I'm sick of college football. These players aren't supposed to get paid and all this stuff. In my day, we didn't pay the players, and they didn't wear face masks on their helmets, and it was great. We loved it. But, I mean, the bottom line is there are a lot of people that are trying to get their arms around this. But even with Greg Sankey and the Pac-12 commissioner going to Congress, even with some of the other things we've heard from other people talking about it. I mean, look, when coaches talk about it and say, I hate it, we go, we get it. You better embrace it or you're going to lose. But when you get a lot of the big, like the Greg Sankeys involved, at least they're trying to make an effort. Why did they wait so long to get to this point where they had to make an effort? Did they have to wait and see the Wild West explode, or did they see it coming?
Well, one, there's never been any leadership in this space. I think we all agree about that. But you go back, look, more than 30, almost 40 years to when college football TV was deregulated by the NCAA. There's people out there who don't remember. There used to be 2 games on every weekend. And the NCAA would pick
How do we survive?
And I don't know. And a school like Texas could only be on twice a year because that's what the NCAA said. That to me, and I'm not very bright, I'm not a legal scholar, that's antitrust, and I have never gone to law school. And they lost that case in 84. Flash forward to today, the pot of unregulated money, which then created conference realignment, huge TV media deals, got so big that it drew the lawyers, inevitably, and it drew challenges to antitrust. Then you go to that point where Ed O'Bannon looked at that video game with his image on it and said, I ought to get something for this.
Exactly.
The NCAA said, not in this collegiate model. This is amateurism. If they had done something that day, 15 years ago, we wouldn't be here where we are today. But again, a lack of leadership. They piecemeal it. I think they're piecemealing it now. Where it ends up, I'm not quite sure, but it might be guided by the courts. It might be guided by Congress. And we've already had people tell us, be careful what you wish for. I'll give you a quick example. We've already seen an example of it. There's a bill in Missouri that was amended to allow athletes in Missouri to make NIL deals with the help of a coach or a school. That was unheard of even during NIL.
Right.
But it was part of a larger bill that had 6 different parts to it. The part of the bill to start off with,
getting cows off the highway.
to start an HBCU week, and there was I think a tax thing in there. And this state representative, it used to be a Missouri offensive lineman, stuck in the language, and that's why Missouri athletes are able to benefit beginning any day now when the governor signs that bill. But What my point is, be careful what you wish for if you want Congress to ride in from the rescue. It's not going to be just, hey, here's antitrust for NIL. It's going to be, here's my pork project, and here's my bridges, and here's what I want, especially in this Washington, D.C.
Exactly. All right, before we let you go, we need to play Yes, No Way, or Maybe with you.
All right.
It is brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you go to Big Mills Cheesesteaks and you tell them you listen to the Dooley Noted Podcast, free French fries with your order. We appreciate Big Mills, and the Big Mills Dennis Dodd comes to us on the Big Mills Zoom line as well. So when you get down here, you and I need to go to Big Mills. How about that?
I eat for free, right, when I'm down there? Absolutely.
You do. You never pay for anything. I can tell you that. All right, number 1. We just saw what happened with Bill Sheridan in Wisconsin. We know what's going on with Herm Edwards. The number of teams that cheated in some way during the COVID restrictions is 50%.
You know what? Until this Air Force thing started, I would have said no, under 50%. I thought what happened at Tennessee and Arizona State were extreme outliers. I was telling people, even Kirby and Nick were doing it by Zoom. But if they're going behind the back at Air Force to get players in, it must be much bigger, but I still think it's less than 50%. I think there's that much morals and ethics in this game. In the middle of a worldwide pandemic, you wouldn't risk people's health to get a cornerback in there to visit the campus.
I'm amazed. I guess I'm amazed there is one case.
I am too.
That drives.
I
I go, what are you thinking at that point? But
Yeah.
coaches, as you know, that all the screws aren't tied down in their heads. They're not quite all buttoned up, and they do things to win. It's all about winning. All right, number 2 on Yes, No, We Are Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. 5 years from now, the NCAA has a power football conference. Just one conference with all the great Power 5 teams.
Well, that has to be clarified. I don't think there'll be an NCAA to oversee it. I think the college football playoff will be running college football. It will break off as an entity of its own.
How many teams do you think will be in it?
I think initially maybe 50 to 80. I don't think it'll be 30. Maybe it will be, because I keep hearing people say that, it's all about the SEC and Big Ten and their TV deals. And maybe that's it. Maybe it's those 30. I don't know. But I think they'll take some others along. But I don't think the NCAA will be involved in any meaningful way. There'll be a subdivision. And so those other schools, whatever you want to call them, the group of 5 will have to make a hard decision. Do we want to have our own playoff? Because that's the only way they get paid. And people will pay for that programming, I think.
That was a weird thing about how we, during COVID, we thought, maybe the SEC and Big 12 will just play each other every weekend, and it'll be great. But we'll still watch it, though, Dennis. I mean, we're college football fans. We're going to watch no matter all this money that's thrown around and all the stuff that's going around. When it gets to be September 2nd or 3rd, whatever, we're going to watch those games because we love the game.
Think about this. If they really want to deregulate this and just go whole hog, unlimited roster sizes, bring back JV football, which you and I remember.
Oh, yeah.
JV football. In this day and age, that
I
would
did
be
the
content.
chain gang for a Florida freshman game. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. You play Florida, Georgia Thursday night. You play Florida, Georgia Saturday, varsity on Saturday. You sell that game in a TV package. That's just income you haven't even discovered yet.
Yeah,
Don't be surprised if something like that happens. If they can get around the Title IX implications, which in my model they can, because they're not going to be part of the NCAA, I think it could happen.
All right, and finally, and we appreciate you taking so much time with us, and we love having you on. That's one reason you're on so long, because I can't quit talking to you. Number 3, football is better with divisions, college football.
With what, FBS, FCS?
No, I'm saying with divisions in the SEC, ACC.
The one division thing.
Yeah.
Better off. I'm going to say no. Because, and we're all every conference, maybe even the SEC is headed for that one division format.
Yeah, they are. I'm not sure I like it. I like that you can win a division without having the best team and have that, chance to play for
I like that, but I don't like it. I wouldn't like in 2019 an 8-4 Northwestern upsetting an 11-1 Ohio State. In this model, and right now, the Big Ten wouldn't be in the playoff. And so I like the idea of that single division where you're going to match your 2 best teams. Iron sharpens iron. Whoever wins is going to have a bump, not only in their win total, but in their schedule strength to the selection committee. And maybe both teams go. So I guess I like it.
All right, Dennis. Here's the thing. I do like. I guess maybe it's because that '92 Florida team, which went 9-4, they were one play away from maybe going. So maybe I remember them fondly. But hey, we appreciate your time so much. Always great having you on. Literally, we could do with you every week, but we have to get Spurrier on here once a week. So
he's much more entertaining. I guarantee you that.
He's got better stories. You know
he does.
More, but he's got funnier stories. I never know what's coming out of his mouth.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Dennis, for joining us. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, man. Enjoyed it.
All right. Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports. Always love having him on. Literally, I could have him on every week because he's that interesting to me and really knows the game better than anybody and so connected with people. I mean, it's amazing. Anyway, we got to get a break. We come back with all of our fun stuff. We've already done, of course, the Yes, Nowhere, maybe with from Big Mills Cheesesteaks. We got to get to our Hesser and Kipke Power 5 and Bottom 3. Leonardo's and Millhopper Quick Picks. Adam Dripko to go Gator of the weekend. And really interesting, I think, for you today, a hand law 3 things. We always love having hand law on. I've got something that's going to get it off my chest. So we'll do that when we return. I almost slurred that. When we return, come on, can you edit that other one out? Here on Another Dooley Noted Podcast, brought to you by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Another Duly Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Duly Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Dripko to go. What would give you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam Dripko to go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Okay, and welcome back to another Duly Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And again, Coach Spurrier will be on Friday's show. And then we're going to kind of get back into a rotation. He's had some travel. I'm about to have some travel. So no show on Monday. They'll have a best of that Evan will put together with his delicate little fingers and make it beautiful. Show. So, and then then we'll get back to having Coach Spurrier, and we'll have somebody else on Friday. Then we'll get back to having Coach Spurrier on Meldon Mondays, which everybody loves, of course. It is time for us to go to the Hand Law 3 Things. It is brought to you by the great Chris Hand, who does an amazing job, and we appreciate him and all the sponsorships he does for us. Of course, 3 Things is presented by Hand Law, Florida law firm, which helps clients with government. You can learn more about Hand Law by visiting its website at www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. And again, all of our sponsors, make sure you take advantage of this. If you need some help with that, go to them. If you have a problem with government, Go to Hand Law. We appreciate Hand Law so much. Number one, there's nothing like Game 7s, man. Last night I'm like, there's nothing to watch. I don't know what I want to. Oh, there were like 4 Game 7s. I think there were 3 on Saturday too. And I don't care about any of the teams that much. I am kind of a Rangers fan, but I'm not going to be. I can't tell you what player on their team. You can't be a fan of a team if you don't know one player on their team. But a long time ago in the Messier era, I kind of gravitated towards the Rangers. I didn't have a hockey team, and my friend of mine was a Rangers fan, so I watched the game last night, the end of the game. I watched the fourth quarter the fourth quarter. That shows how much hockey I know. I watched the fourth quarter and then the shootout. No, I watched the third quarter and then I watched the overtime, and the Rangers won. That was great. That was interesting. But the main thing about the Game 7s last night is now Florida is assured of having a player win a ring in basketball this year. Think about it. Dorian Finney-Smith, who's been really good for Dallas. Al Horford, who's been amazing for, obviously, the Celtics. Al Horford is the only person in America that can make me root for the Celtics. The only one. Maybe Billy could. If Billy was coaching the Celtics, they'd go, all right, Dools, we're going to watch this. We got to watch our team. And his son works here, right over here. I talked to him the other day. And of course, I can't think of the name of the team that in Miami, the Heat, for God's sakes. Udonis Haslem's played 13 games. He doesn't play much, but he could get I think it's his 3rd or 4th ring. It's not a bad career. And then Joseph plays for Golden State. Now, I will say this. I am a Golden State kind of fan, but look, we've had discussions on the radio about what a bad fan. I'm the worst fan in the world. I'm a front-running fan. If my team's doing good, I'm on top of them. Boom. Same way with the Golden State. I was like, hey, it's Golden State. Well, Klay Thompson's. Hey. Now all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, nice shot, Steph. It is what I am as God made me, as they said in Spinal Tap. That's all I can say. But it still was a fun weekend of all these Game 7s. Really exciting. And, again, for Florida, a Gator will win a ring. And that's good. You want that to happen. All right, number 2. This was something that it was like, I'm trying to think of the right word for it. It was like a startling, bad stat that somebody threw at you, and you knew the stat, and it still struck at your heart. And this was in a story on The Athletic. And The Athletic, we appreciate all the people at The Athletic. We're having Andy on soon again. And it was talking about how it was like a kind of a deal where they were doing a poll. When polls are fine, but you're only getting a limited number of people that are going to actually say, here's what I think, whatever. That's not the point. The poll, to me, was not the big deal. The point that it was made that I just went, I didn't even think about that, but it's so true, and it's absolutely, this is why all the Gator fans are losing their minds and still don't even know. I just wrote a thing about 10 reasons why Gator fans shouldn't panic, but they're going to panic. What are you thinking? Why would you even write that? They're going to panic. The first down, they're going to panic. But the point of this story was that Florida has been 500 or worse in 6 of the last 12 seasons. And that 13 years without a conference title, which I know. I mean, I was there the last time they won one, okay? But it's 13 years. But maybe it's softened because they've been in 4 since then. They've had no chance to win any of the 4. They lose all 4 to Alabama. Yes, they've lost all 4 to Alabama, yeah. So anyway, my point is sometimes fans get riled up and get excited and get mad and say mean things about me, and that's fine. I get that. But I get it because you guys had went through the most incredible run from 90 with Spurrier to 08 with Urban, where you were winning the SEC almost, well, let's count them. 90 I count, right? In HBC will be in here Thursday, what day is it? Thursday we're going to tape it. We'll show it Friday because I got to go to the beach. All right, so 90, 91, 93, 94, 95, 96, 99 they didn't win, but they won in 2000, 06, and 08. 10 SEC championships that I count. 10. Okay? That's pretty good. How many of you won in the last 13 years? 0.0. That's not good. Sometimes stats, and I'm big on throwing stats out there. In fact, I had a great stat today that I can't remember what it was. It was a good stat, though. It was for something else I was writing. All right, and finally, number 3 on the hand law, 3 things. PGA is this week. It's a major. It's a weird time. They've moved it back. They can't ever seem to find a resting place for the PGA. And to be honest with you, if they were, well, I might go back to even like a month before Augusta and play it then. Say, hey, look, we're going to go to Scottsdale or somewhere, and we're going to go to warm weather climates and play it out there but the bottom line is I don't think there's a lot of energy towards this major. Now, the one thing that does bring energy, Tiger Woods is there. He's on the ground. We saw the plane land. It's exciting. And so we'll be excited, and I will watch it. My biggest concern is that we're going to a townhouse over in St. Augustine on Sunday. We'll be there. What if they don't get the channel? Well, it's CBS. What if they don't get it? That means I'm going to have to spend a whole day in a bar. But I'm watching the PGA. Now, if it's boring and it's, guys that are playing that I don't really care about, that's one thing. But hopefully it'll be interesting. My pick is Justin Thomas. Okay? That's who I'm going with. That is the hand law, 3 things. Let's go to the Adam Ribco to go Gator of the weekend. Went to Adams on Sunday. What day is today? Monday? Maybe it was Saturday. I went one day. Yeah, I think it was Saturday. Yeah, because Karen and I went out and played golf. And then as we were driving back, we said, hey, let's get some Adams Ribco to go. Beautiful. It was great. Great. Karen loves the hot dogs there. I'm a big turkey plate guy, and Kelsey is too. So we had a great meal there at Adams Ribco to go. The Gator of the weekend is Parker Valby, who helped Florida win the SEC championship in track. And this is somebody who hadn't run the 1,500 meters since January and hadn't run in a lot of – I mean, she had been out. Let's just put it that way. She had been out. I know I have this the numbers aren't right here. I can't read my writing somewhere. But she hadn't been running in the 1,500 meters. So she ran the 1,500 meters, set a school record. And Florida wins the outdoors. And the thing is, Florida needed every point. And look, I really, in retrospect, want to give this award and all the prestige that comes with the Adams Ribco to go Gator of the weekend to the entire women's track team, SEC champs. And if you didn't get every point you could possibly get, they wouldn't have won. That was amazing. 12 of the 15 people who competed won points. They got points. They earned points. 3 points, 4 points, 5. That's how you win championships. There used to be where if you had one great athlete, you could win it all. He'd win or she would win the long jump, 100 meters, 200 meters. It was 30 points. You could almost win it. Not anymore. The way they've set it up now, great job for that Gator women's track team. And I especially wanted to highlight Parker Valby, who, again, that's pretty amazing. And also champion Allison, who's appropriately named champion, who swept the 400 for not only the outdoor, but the indoors. She swept both of them. So, hey, what Mouse is doing over there is amazing, and that's why they are Adams Ribco to Go Gators of the weekend. Let us move to our Leonard's a Millhopper quick picks. Very simple. We've had several qualifiers. I know that a few people qualified, not many though, because not many of you saw coming what. Well, some people saw coming. I don't know if they saw it, but they guessed right. With the Mavericks beating the Suns, and not only beating them but destroying them. I didn't see that coming. It was kind of a ruin my Sunday night, but I was going to watch it. But the bottom line is, there were several people that did get it right. I've got them all written down. We're probably the Friday after I don't work Monday is when we're going to pull another winner. Pretty easy. FSU in Florida Tuesday night in Gainesville. Who do you got? Who do you think will win? It's so simple. It can't be easier than that. You either put down an F, LA, or an FSU. Or you could put Knowles or Gators. Whatever you put down, you can qualify. And that is our Leonard's at Millhopper quick picks. We appreciate Kyle over there as well. And finally, we wrap it up with our Hesser and Kipke Power 5 and Bottom 3, which we do every Monday. We talk about baseball. And, of course, the Hesser and Kipke Power 5 and, Bottom 3 are brought to you by Hesser and Kipke, a law firm based in Hale Plantation specializing in employment, workers' comp, and family law. Visit their website at www.hklawfl.com or call Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920. All right, so we need to I got to set that meeting up with Ken and Jennifer to have a beer or something or drink. They seem like good people, but I have never met them. I still want to meet them. Maybe we can do it here. All right, here is the Power 5. Number 1, I'm sorry, but it's the Yankees. I hate it. I don't want to. It makes me want to throw up in my mouth a little. They are 25-9, and they just keep winning games, and I hate it. And I just hope. I will say this. Even though the Braves are just struggling along, and they just can't seem to get over the hump, and they're, I think, 3 games under 5. At least there'll be somebody to root against in the playoffs if this keeps up. Number 2, the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are 21-12. Their run differential is the highest in Major League Baseball at plus 70. That's good. That's what I would call good. Number 3, the Astros. I hate to put them in there, but I thought they're 23-12. Let's put them in there. You know why you put them in there? Maybe they'll jinx them because I hate them. And then the LA Angels at 24-13 are 4, and at number 5, the Brewers at 22-13. And I wrote down a number here that I have no idea what it means. All right, now that is our top 5, the Power 5 from Hesser and Kipke, and we love doing it. Now our bottom 3. It's not hard today because not only are the Reds 9-26. But the Reds lost yesterday. I think I'm right about this, Evan. I don't know if you've ever heard anything like that. The Reds lost and threw a no-hitter and still lost the game. So it was like 0-0-0, 1-0. It's terrible. They lost the game. They threw a no-hitter. That's not good. That's why they're number 1. They're number 1. All right, number 2, Detroit at 12-23, and number 3, I'm sticking the Red Sox in there. I hate them right now. That's my team in the American League, and they're just awful. 13-21. They're 4-9 at home. They're 4-9 at Fenway Park. You don't lose. You don't go 4-9 at Fenway Park. You got to park your car in the garage. Come on, man. Let's go. All right, that's going to do it for another edition, and appreciate Hesser and Kipke as well. All of our sponsors, we love them so much. We're still looking for one more for the Fearsome Fivesome. If you want to call me, you know how to get a hold of me. and you can get involved in that. We cut you good deals. That's going to do it for our show today, and thanks so much to Evan for all the great work he does. I'm sorry I was squeaking on the chair earlier. Thanks to Dennis Dodd, who was tremendous. Don't forget, Friday's show, we'll have Coach Spurrier on. We got a lot of things to talk to him about, and then I'll have Monday off. Just going to be laying on the beach. And hopefully I don't get harpooned by a whale shooter. Anyway, until then, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep, I am way back, and I am out of here.